everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christy and this is This Country Girl's Life. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I hope y'all are doing okay today. We are going to talk about the Idaho 4, just the little odds and ends that have come out, and just try to figure out which puzzle pieces is LE still missing. They make it sound like they're putting together a picture, they're putting together a puzzle, but when they say that, it sounds like they're missing something. They're still looking for context in what happened that night with Xana and Ethan, with even Kaylee and Maddie. Even though it seems like we know a lot about their night, they want context to what happened that evening. So what are they missing? I'm recording because I'm crabby today. I was gonna go live, but for the last 2 or 3 nights we've had a wind advisory, and I don't know if any of you have ever been in a blizzard, but when the wind literally howls, that's what it sounded like. It was howling, whipping around the corners of the house, and just not real conducive for sleeping. And as you know, if you've been here before, my whole entire family were sick. So yeah, you ever have those days where you're just like, I'm at my wit's end? That's kind of where I'm at today. I have 2 football games tonight that I'm hoping I can stay awake for. We get OU in the Cheez-It Bowl, and then we get the Cowboys to play. So hopefully I'll make it through both. I know my sweater looks kind of fuzzy on camera, but I'm wearing this today. It's my comfy, cozy hug. It was my dad's sweater, so it's kind of like my dad giving me a hug. So just bear with the fuzziness of it. Okay, so let's dive into this. I was going to end with this, but I think I'm going to start with it instead because, like I told you, I'm at my wit's end in general, but getting there with this case, and you know, every day it's something, right? Like, I call it suspect of the day. You know, everybody's got a new theory, everybody's got a new suspect every day. Yesterday it seemed to be naked guy. Everybody was talking about the killer being naked, and when I'm sick, my mind is just you know, on a good day my mind is, but when I'm sick, it's just like I have no filter on my mouth, and when I'm sick, there's no filter in my brain. And all I could imagine is like this naked guy running around with a knife, committing these attacks. And I'm like, I don't think so. And how it came up was, you know, talking about the lack of a blood trail. And we've talked about different ways that a person could have clothed themselves to leave without a blood trail and without wearing blood-soaked clothes. And then naked guy comes up, and I'm like, it makes you kind of vulnerable as a man, right? If you're just running out with your stuff in the wind, so to speak. We know some people fought back, and that's kind of a target area that you aim for when you fight anyway. But can you imagine if it's just out there swinging in the wind? I mean, I don't think the killer was naked, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But what I'm going to start with today is today's suspect of the day. Now, I get up in the mornings, and the first thing I do is go through my phone, and I look at my news alerts, and I look to see if there's been any updated posts on Reddit or in the Facebook groups or whatever regarding cases that I'm currently following and covering. So today I get up and I'm going through everything, and I get to the Facebook groups, and somebody had posted their theory of who it was that They needed to be looked at closer, and, you know, on and on and on. And they stated that they knew people were going to come after them for saying it, but that they were a fighter, so bring it on. And I'm like, okay, so let's dive into that rabbit hole. And the person that they had put up was SC, and they're talking about the girl's dad, the girl's brother, things like that. And so everybody's commenting like, who the heck is SC? And in my mind, I'm like, Santa Claus? And somebody posted Scott Calvin, and if you've watched the Santa Claus movies, Scott Calvin ends up being Santa Claus. And I'm like, okay, I'm in a mood, so let's go there. So today's suspect of the day is the one and only Santa Claus. Not really. But I commented, and I was like, huh. Like, I should have known. Santa Claus can get in and out of any house undetected. It works. And he knows when you're sleeping. So he would have known they were asleep, right? And everybody kind of joins in, and, you know, we're kind of having a laugh. And no, this case isn't a laughing matter, and that's not what I was trying to do. You know, I was just kind of making light of the fact that some of these theories, they get to be a little out there. Even some of mine are probably out there. But I was just like, damn, not today. Not today. Not Santa Claus, you know? And somebody commented back, and they're like, no chimneys. And I'm like, well, obviously you've never watched the Santa Claus movie, because that one just magically appears. Well, somebody, thankfully, finally came along and cleared up who SC actually was for me. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense to me. Kind of. And we're going to get into that. But a lot of people were assuming she meant SG, which would be Kaylee's dad. And I thought, dear God, please, let's not go down that road again. It definitely was not her dad, because they were talking about Kaylee. The poster was. And I'm like, no, it was not her dad. Why? What would be the motive? And then they were talking about her brother, and I'm like, nobody's even mentioned her brother before. Why would her brother, like, what? No. Apparently, SC is the brother or dad of HC, who is Hannah Clear. So, not Santa Claus, thank God. I mean, somebody was like, everybody's a suspect from Chief Fry to Murphy, and I was like, hashtag Murphy's innocent, and they went off on me. Dude, the dog didn't do it. I don't think the chief of police did it either, but I know Murphy's innocent. And I'm pretty sure Santa Claus is too. But we don't know. All right, so moving on. So Hannah Clear, apparently at one point lived in the dorms with Maddie Mogan. And we've talked about Hannah in my previous videos, but we haven't talked about her lately. And there were, if you go back and you watch, I have a whole playlist for this case, and I showed some of the comments on Twitter that people had been posting on pictures of Maddie and Kaylee, kind of insinuating that they had bullied Hannah, and that's why they were killed. Now, Hannah overdosed in February, and her dad has come out and said this. So this says, the death of Hannah Clear was confirmed to have been an overdose by Moscow Police Department on Twitter. Clear's father said he has seen the autopsy and toxicology report showing that she overdosed on over-the-counter sleep medication. There was no evidence of foul play. Please respect my daughter's memory, Scott Clear tweeted. Now, the reason I say SC could be her dad or her brother, when I looked at the obituary, I believe her brother's name is also Scott. So SC could be either one. And apparently this theory is based on, one, this was not an accidental overdose, even though Moscow police have said it was, and it's not related to these crimes. And even though Hannah's dad has said it's not related and like basically let it go, this person believes that she did it on purpose because of the bullying, and brought up the point that these attacks happened on the 13th of November and Hannah's birthday was the 15th of November. So I don't know. But apparently that is the theory of the day. Excuse me a minute. At least on Facebook. So let me know what you think. I mean, I guess it could have been since it was close to her birthday, but why not on her birthday? I don't know. I know Tuesday, which that would have been the 15th, right, was the day that Kaylee told her mom she would be home after going back for the weekend. So maybe it was so they didn't have time to leave on Tuesday for break. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there because that is today's suspect and theory of the day. Okay. So let me get down here. This has been the hot topic lately. I'm sure you've seen it. This is a picture of the surveillance footage from inside of the corner club that night. You can see in the corner, it was about 1:30 in the morning on the 13th of November. So the big question in this was, is that Jack D? So let's take a little closer look here. And I did a poll on my community tab, and overwhelmingly people thought, yes, it is Jack D. I agree. I think it probably is Jack D. But here we have, this is one comparison. This is his profile picture on the left, and you can see the hat. And then obviously he's with Murphy. And then somebody made this comparison. And if you look really close on the picture on the right, it does appear that there is a logo on that hat very similar to the one in the picture on the left. So I don't know. You can make up your own mind on that. But let's see. Actually, I need to pull up another picture here. Hold on. I thought I had them all up, but apparently I did not. Don't come at me. Like I said, I don't feel good today, and I just don't need people coming at me. One moment, please. Okay, make that a little smaller. So I went ahead and I labeled this one to who everybody thinks everybody is in the picture. So we've got Kaylee and Maddie. We know that from the Grub Truck video. Presumed to be Jack D. And we've got Hoodie Guy over here, who I probably should have put HG, but everybody kind of assumes it's Jack S. So I put Jack S, or JS, excuse me. We've got Adam, the bartender, bouncer, roommate of Jack D in the corner, and then this guy in between, right? And people are going back and forth. Is this the bar owner or is this the chief of police? And a lot of people thought it was the chief of police. I don't think it was the chief of police. I really don't. But we'll get into that in a minute. Hide this. That's the bar owner that's circled in this picture. I think it's the bar owner. And, I mean, it would make sense for the bar owner to be there, right? It's almost closing time. Maybe he's coming by to see, like, how they did that night. I don't know. But regardless, if it's the chief of police, I mean, he's got the right to go to a bar, right? The only thing that I would find odd about that is if he were there, he probably would have said he was there that night and he remembered seeing them there at whatever time. I don't know. But when it comes down to it, does it matter if it's the chief or if it's the bar owner? I don't know. I mean, like I said, just because he's the chief of police doesn't mean that he can't go to a bar in his off time, or even when he's on duty, if he just wants to, like, go through there and make sure everything is, like, above board or whatever. So let's see. Questions about if this is Jack D. Why didn't he go to the grub truck after with the girls? So this is what, 10-ish minutes before they left the corner club. Did he leave before them? Did he stay behind? Was he giving Adam a ride home? I don't know. But why wouldn't he, if he was leaving, why wouldn't he have just gone with them to the grub truck? I don't know. I think it's interesting. And then as far as Hoodie Guy being there, do you remember in the beginning there were a lot of reports that he had gotten kicked out of Corner Club that night for being creepy towards girls, making them uncomfortable. Well, if we look at this, he's there, and it's 1:30. Now, I believe closing time is 2, so he could have gotten kicked out at any point from here to close, right? We don't know. But, you know, and maybe that's what the bar owner and Adam are talking about, like, you know, Hoodie Guy's kind of looking at them. Maybe they're saying, like, he's been acting this way and that way, and they're just like, look, buddy, just go ahead and leave. We're about to close anyway. Just go ahead and leave. I don't know. Is that significant? Did somebody else get kicked out of Corner Club, and the rumor was it was Hoodie Guy? I don't know. Just questions coming out of this picture for me. Could Hoodie Guy have told Jack D he'd make sure the girls got home okay? I wonder this because Jack D's not with the girls, but in the picture, if this is Jack D, and I have to say if, he is talking to them, so we can tell by the footage of them walking and the footage of them at the grub truck that they're likely a bit drunk, and maybe Jack D, we don't know, maybe he offered them a ride home and they're like, no, we want to go to the grub truck first or something. I don't know. And Hoodie Guy steps in to be the good guy and is like, hey, I'll walk with them. I'll keep an eye on them. I'll make sure they get home okay. You know? And then Jack D was like, okay, cool. He's going to keep an eye on them so I don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. I don't know. Just spitballing and speculating here. Could that be how the girls and Hoodie Guy ended up walking together to the grub truck? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe Hoodie Guy told Adam that he would watch him and make sure they got home safe. I don't know. Don't know. Let's see. That's really about it as far as this picture goes, but let me know what you think just about what's going on in that picture. And why were we given just a still photo from the video? Why wasn't like a clip of the video leaked? You know, was it, I think I have it in here somewhere, a little more that I thought about the photo. Yeah. So let me go ahead. I'll just pull it back up here since I'm going to continue talking about it. Remember when Chief Fry said that what's not there is just as important as what is there in photos and videos that they wanted submitted? So Jack D is only in the Corner Club video. He's not in the video of them walking on the street, and he's not in the video from the grub truck. Does that mean anything? I don't know. Hoodie Guy is in all three. You know, he's here. He's walking down the street with them in the What'd You Tell Adam video and the grub truck video. Is that significant? I don't know. Did somebody release this because they wanted it known that Jack D was there? Because we don't know who leaked this. And like I said, I don't know why it's a still shot versus an actual video clip. Even if it was just a few seconds, they chose this particular shot to leak. And you have to wonder why. Maybe there isn't a why, but it is interesting to me that we hadn't heard anything about Jack D being at Corner Club, and there he is. And this is the photo that was released. So just a little more to think about. And like I said, I mean, I'd kind of like to hear what you think about what is this interaction that's going on. I mean, it looks like he's smiling like things are okay. I don't see any real tension or animosity in the photo, unless there was some later in the video. But it does bring up some questions. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Okay, next. So Kaylee posted this on October 11th, and she was looking for a roommate for when she moved to Texas. It says, looking for a roommate to move in with me from February to June. I'm coming from Idaho, so I'm not familiar with the area, so open to living anywhere in the Austin area. I'm a 21-year-old girl with a really sweet 20-pound dog. If anyone is looking for a place from February to June in Austin, let me know. So, did Jack D know she was taking Murphy? Is the biggest question I have about this, because we don't really know what the arrangement was as far as Murphy goes. You know, was Jack wanting to keep Murphy with him? Apparently, Kaylee was planning on taking him with her to Texas. So that would be interesting to know. And how did he feel about her taking Murphy to Texas, if he did know? And she's only looking for a roommate from February to June. So what was going to change in June? Was somebody joining her that she knew in Texas? Was it Jack? Was he planning to go to Texas? Was he planning to follow her down there? I don't know. But I think it's interesting that she mentions that she has Murphy and that she only needs a roommate from February to June. So, like I said, what was happening in June? Was somebody joining her? Was Maddie coming? Was Jack coming? I don't know. I mean, her family talked like they were going to get back together. Like, it was just a known thing that they were going to reconcile. They were going to end up together. So, did they think that because there was a plan for him to follow her to Texas in June? I don't know. And while we're talking about Jack D, his aunt came out and talked to the press about how he is devastated and how, like, tormented he's been by everybody. Basically, I think she said everybody in the United States thinks that he killed them. And I won't go so far to say, like, he absolutely did it, but I can't take him off my persons of interest list just because I was trained to start with the inner circle and work your way out. And if someone is murdered, a lot of the time, it is a spouse, a significant other, what have you. And with them only being broken up for 3 weeks before, you know, it's still fresh. And Kaylee's the one that decided to take the break. So he could have been harboring a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of resentment. You know, she dumped him and she's planning on going backpacking in Europe and making her plans to move to Texas and really just going on and living her life without him. So I can't take him off the list yet until I know more about his alibi than he was asleep. Because at 1:30, he's at Corner Club. We don't know when he left Corner Club or when he got home, but he was allegedly sleeping, and that's why he didn't answer when the girls called him. And his roommates say that he was asleep, which is probably one of the weakest alibis, sleeping, right? Especially by yourself. Yeah, that's always been my biggest fear. Something's going to happen. I'm going to be a suspect, and I was alone at the time. I have nobody to back me up. But I doubt a roommate was in there with him when he fell asleep. They were supposed to be, like, downstairs playing video games or something. So I don't think somebody was in there and, like, watched him fall asleep and sat there and knew for a fact that, yeah, he was sleeping at that time. So I'd like a little more on the alibi before I can completely clear him. Obviously, there are a lot of other persons of interest, and I'm sure there are people out there. You don't have to look very far to find somebody that will flat out say, yeah, it was him, but I'm not one of them. I'm considering, you know, but I'm not going to point my finger at anybody and say it was absolutely them. Let's see. Oh, so the aunt talked on his behalf, and then the aunt comes out with this GoFundMe, and it was to pay off Kaylee's Range Rover. We know she had just bought it the day before, I think, and it was kind of weird, you know. I was like, why? Why? Now, it has since been shut down. The Gonsalves lawyers got it shut down, and GoFundMe has removed it. But I was like, why would she do that? I mean, apparently she had started one for the sorority or something as well, which was odd. But this isn't her first GoFundMe related to this case, is my point. But I kept thinking, like, why wouldn't Kaylee's family pay off the Range Rover? Like, I get it being sentimentally attached to personal belongings. When my dad passed away, my son got his truck, and my son totaled the truck, and it took a long time for me to be able to let go of the truck, even though it was totaled. It was like losing a piece of my dad all over again. My mom died 4 years ago, and I still have her car. You know, I mean, some people aren't wired that way, but I am. Like, weird little thing, like the sweater of my dad's, you know, there's just weird little things that that belong to important people in my life that I can't bear to get rid of, because to me they're priceless. There's just so much sentimental value. So if that's what it was, I would think, her family would have paid it off or made the payments, what have you. And then I was like, well, is she doing this because Jack D wants the car for some reason? Which, now that to me would be weird, because she just got that car. So it's not like her and Jack D have memories in this car or attached to this car. So why would he want that car? Just because it was something that Kaylee bought? Maybe. But it's going to mean more probably to her family than Jack D. And I can't imagine that if, this isn't the way to go about it. If Jack wanted the car, why not go to the family and be like, hey, can I buy the car off of you? I'd like to have her Range Rover. Why go about it this way is the point. And when I read it, I'm like, okay, so is this like just some kind of gesture of goodwill, like, towards the family to relieve them of the burden of having to pay for the vehicle? And from what she wrote, it seemed like that's how she was framing it. But obviously, the Gonsalves family didn't see it that way. And I found it interesting that they had their lawyer go after them to get it taken down, because to me, if my daughter's boyfriend's aunt made a GoFundMe to pay off my daughter's brand new car and I wasn't okay with it, I would call him or his family and be like, hey, can you take that down? I'm not comfortable with that. Appreciate the gesture, but no. They didn't do that. They didn't go to him, his aunt, his family, whoever, and ask them to take it down. They went through their lawyer and had it taken down. I just found that interesting, so I thought I would share that with you as well. So, the latest press release came out on the 27th, so 2 days ago, and I'm going to go through it with you, and there's really one part that I found interesting, and we will get to that. So it says, it's the normal intro to their daily press releases, and it says, at this time in the investigation, detectives do not believe the female associate professor and chair of the history department at the University of Idaho suing a TikTok user for defamation is involved in this crime. The Moscow Police Department will not provide a statement about the ongoing civil process. So basically they're clearing whatever word they like to use, the history professor, which is not a big shock. There have been numerous inquiries from members of the public and media to verify digital media published online. Any picture or video provided through the official public records request process is authentic. However, once a record is released, we can no longer verify its authenticity, as we do not know if anything has been altered. Detectives are aware of videos distributed by local businesses. Now, this is interesting, and it should be obvious to us all, but you can do a FOIA request and get records, right? But what you do with those after, they have no control over anymore. And it kind of brought me back to the Kylie Rodney fire cam video and the back and forth and the fighting, and some people saying, this is the official video. But we don't know unless you specifically got that video from authorities and looked at it. If you viewed it online, we don't know if it was altered or not, right? So basically what they're saying is if you see a channel out there showing like the body cam video or what have you, just remember that a creator could take the liberty of altering it in some way. I'm not saying anybody has done that, but just bear that in mind. Like, let's say you've seen this body cam video on multiple channels and it's always the same. Well, it's probably a safe bet that it is the original, or they all got it from the same source who altered it. But if you're watching it and it's all the same, and then you come across somebody and they're like, oh, hey, look, this is different, they probably altered it. Okay. Investigators believe someone has information that adds context to what occurred on the night of the murders and continue requesting additional pictures, video, and social media content. Sorry. Odie. So my daughter's on dog patrol again today. She just came out to get him. Our focus remains on the investigation, not an individual's activities displayed in the tip. So basically, I think they're running into, again, I'll compare it to Kylie Rodney, people not wanting to come forward because of what they were doing, whether that be, you know, underage drinking or what have you. They don't want to say, like, I was at this place drinking and I saw blah, 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 blah. And investigators are like, we don't care what you were doing, just come forward with what you know, which they did in Kylie Rodney as well. Hang on. Sorry, my voice is just a mess. Now, whether that'll work or not, we don't know. Whether you believe it is significant or not, your information might be the one puzzle piece that helps solve these murders. Digital submission of tips and leads will not be publicly disclosed due to our ongoing commitment to keep information private, and details may be pertinent to the ongoing criminal investigation. Which, again, like Kylie Rodney, they're telling you it will be confidential. And in this case, I think a lot of that is probably aimed towards, like, the Greek system and students in general. You know, they don't want to get in trouble with the Greek council. They don't want to get in trouble with the school and possibly, you know, get kicked out, get put on probation, lose their financial aid, things of that nature. And if they're Greek, they don't want to get like their whole house in trouble for if they had a party and there was underage drinking there. So I think they're trying to cover that and make people feel comfortable enough that, hey, whatever was happening, wherever it was happening, it's okay. We're not going to, you know, pursue it. We're not going to take it to the school, etc. Progress continues to locate the white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra believed to be in the immediate area of King Road residence during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupants may have critical information to share regarding this case and have identified over 22,000 vehicles. If you know of or own a vehicle matching this description or know of anyone who may have been driving this specific vehicle on the days preceding or the day of the murders, please forward that information to the tip line. No suspect has been identified, and only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation will be released to the public. We encourage referencing official releases for accurate and updated progress. All press releases and related information is available, and then it's the website for the Moscow police. They have a website that is dedicated only to information about this case. So what I found interesting is that last paragraph. They say no suspect has been identified. Now, normally in these press releases, they say no suspect has been identified and no weapon has been found. And they didn't say that here. Just could have been an oversight, could have been overlooked, they haven't come out and said that they have found it. But I found it interesting that they didn't say it in this release that they hadn't found it. Now, I don't know if they found it, if they're somehow trying to tie that back to the owner of the knife. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. I know with a gun, you know, serial numbers, registration, things like that. With a knife, it would be some type of different process, fingerprints, DNA, what have you. But I just found it interesting, and that's why I wanted to bring this to you, is that normally it does say that they have no suspect and they have not found the weapon. And this time it didn't. But it could very easily just have been an oversight. Sorry, my husband just got home. Okay, so I'm sure that we all know about the noise complaint, the original body cam footage of the noise complaint from September, and it was called in. The police showed up, and basically they were told nobody that lived in the house was there, and they ended up getting Maddie on the phone and saying, you should probably come back and, you know, get these people under control, whatever. And it was crazy because, number one, yes, it was very loud. But number two, allegedly no one that lived there was home at the time, but the house is full of all of these random people. Some people that encountered the police on their way up, they were on their way out and said they didn't even know who lived there. That may or may not be true, but apparently, you know, you've got people going in and out. And they had mentioned on the phone with Maddie that if they had to come back out, they were going to issue a citation. And honestly, it sounded like they hadn't been called to this house a lot. They weren't really familiar with this house a lot. Now, they may have had a lot of parties. Maybe they just didn't get called in for a noise complaint or whatever. But these officers did not seem super familiar with the house, to the point that they were calling it 1122 Queen Road, and it's actually 1122 King Road. So what I want to talk about now is there was a return to that house that night. Truth and Transparency got the body cam video when they came back again. Now, the first one was around 8 o'clock, and this one is around 12 or 12:30 at night. And this time, when they go, Xana answers the door. And I want to play just a little clip of that from Truth and Transparency. She gave me permission to use this. And if you want to see the full video, go check out her channel. I'll link it in the description box. She has a lot of videos on this case, a lot of the body cam videos, and she breaks down. She's got different theories and things that you might be interested in. So thank you for letting me use this little clip, and like I said, I'll link it in the description box. And if you feel so inclined, go over and check out Lana at Truth and Transparency.
Hello, miss.
Hello.
What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
Okay, did Megan talk to you earlier?
No.
Okay, does Megan live here?
Megan, I do not have a Megan that lives
Megan
here.
Mogan?
Maddie Mogan, yes.
Madison Mogan, yeah.
Madison Mogan? Okay, she does live here?
Sorry, she is at the club. She's 21. I'm just going to bed. I have a couple friends over, but this is my ID.
Have you talked to Maddie tonight?
Yes, I have.
Oh.
She's at the corner club.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about anything that happened earlier or anything like that?
Honestly, not really. I've just been here the past hour.
Okay. Okay.
Just trying to go to bed.
Can I grab your ID from you? If you
Yeah,
will run her.
I'm not 21.
Okay.
My roommates are 21. I just came to go to bed.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
I'm sorry
Okay?
about that.
So this time it was the blonde gal and the guy on the back porch playing music, okay? So
sincerely apologize about
Okay.
that. I'm just going to bed.
Okay. So, just so you understand, you could be getting a misdemeanor citation for this, which means you have to go in front of a judge and explain why you couldn't keep the people in your house quiet.
Okay.
Okay? We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing. Okay? The only reason she's not getting a ticket is because she's not standing here in front of me. But I'm telling you right now, if we have to come back, you're getting a ticket.
Okay, so
you will have to go
right
see a
now,
judge.
I'm fine right now.
You're not getting a ticket right now.
I'm just trying to go to bed right
Okay.
now. I mean, I understand you guys. You're coming here. I'm just going to bed.
Okay. Well, understand that you're responsible for the residents.
Okay.
So whoever else is here, if they have a safe way to get home, you need to kick them out.
Okay.
Or tell them to come inside and be quiet.
Okay.
Because the houses that are on this hill all the way around here, we can hear you from clear down the road when we were coming up here. We can hear the music.
Okay.
And that's
I'm so sorry.
where we're past the point of having polite conversations, okay?
Yeah,
Because
I'm so
neighbors are being
sorry.
kept up, okay?
I'm sorry. It's just like, yeah.
So,
The blonde gal and the guy up there, are they roommates too?
I'm sorry, what?
The blonde gal and the guy that's upstairs, are they roommates too?
None of my roommates are home. I'm the only one home.
What's the
These are all my
conversation?
friends.
Okay, sorry if you saw me talking. I was talking to my husband. He finally, allegedly, if you were watching this, allegedly in my lives is always talking about being the only guy. And my husband did agree to do a video with me about true crime, even though he's not a true crime fan. And I asked him if he wanted to come sit down and join me today, and he said no, just so you know. So okay, so why did I show you that video? Well, for one thing, it's interesting because this time Xana is the one that answered. She's actually home, and she says that none of her roommates are there and she's just trying to go to bed. And you can tell, like, she's worried because they're talking about, you know, like a $300 ticket and things like that. And one thing that I noticed that I wanted to ask your opinion on is in the first body cam video, this girl answered the door, and a lot of people thought this was Bethany. I don't know if it's Bethany. I think it might just be somebody that looks like Bethany, but that's not where I'm going with this. I mean, if it is Bethany, that would be interesting because she's like, no, nobody that lives here is here. But that girl, and then in the clip I showed you, you probably heard one of the officers talking about the people upstairs, the blonde and the guy. So take a look at this. Sorry, it's not super clear because it's so zoomed in. Okay, I'm going to play it again. But I feel like that girl might be this girl. It looks like they're wearing the same outfit to me. So just let me know what you think about that, because why I find that interesting is if she doesn't live there, why the hell was she hanging out there for like 4.5 hours? I mean, that's a long time to stay at a party. If she was there during the initial noise complaint and the second one, like 4 hours later or whatever, the same girl is still there. It's kind of crazy, but again, may not mean anything. But why this is interesting is who made that follow-up call. Why they came back when Xana opened the door. Madison Moye made the call. Do you remember her? We talked about her in a previous video. She was a sorority sister of Maddie and Xana, I believe. Maybe Kaylee. I don't know. I'm going to read you this article that we went over before, but it will explain who she is. She said that she saw him out that night. It was just a normal night in Moscow. Moye, a 21-year-old sophomore, told Fox News Digital on Monday. Moscow is a safe place. Nothing like this ever happens. I didn't think anything of it. That was the last time Moye saw Mogan, who police said spent the night out with another one of the victims, 21-year-old Kaylee Gonsalves. So Moye said that she spent the night out with Kaylee on the 13th. Moye said Mogan was at the club, a hot spot for University of Idaho students for the majority of the night. I don't see her in the picture, but according to police, Mogan and Gonsalves left the bar around 1:30 a.m. and went to a nearby food truck before returning to their King Road home at 1:56 a.m. on Sunday. Speaking to Fox News Digital on Monday, Moye said she and two of the victims, Kernodle and Mogan, were members of the same sorority at the University Pi Beta Phi. She said she had even been to the home every so often before it turned into a crime scene for events or when the girls would hang out. The Vandal community is really close and it's kind of just put a darkness over it, she said. She told Fox News Digital Mogan and Kernodle had dropped out of the sorority last semester and therefore she had seen them less frequently in recent months. Spokespersons for the local and national chapters did not respond Monday to Fox News Digital's request for confirmation. Moye lives in a home behind the crime scene. It's that blue house that we've seen behind where the murders happened. It's kind of like it's behind their house, kind of between, like, if you were to go from where we think Jack D lived to where the murders happened. Moye lives in a home behind the crime scene. She said she did not go to the home on the morning of November 13th when police said officers arrived to find multiple people already inside. When asked about the possibility that the killer might have passed through her yard, she responded, "It's definitely something that's crossed my mind, and that's really terrifying." She said she and many of her classmates typically walk to campus for class, and that she has often used a shortcut that passes through the parking lot behind the victim's home. So I find that all really interesting. I saw in one of the Facebook groups that Madison Moye may have been a roommate previously of one or more of the girls. I don't know, but she had been in the sorority before they dropped out. She lived really nearby there, and she didn't go that morning, and there was quite a crowd there that morning from what we've been told, you know, with all the police activity and everything, but she did not go. I just find it interesting that she knew who lived there and was sorority sisters with a couple of them, and instead of like trying to get a hold of them or going over there and saying, "Hey, can you keep it down?" she called the police on them. So again, it's something that may mean nothing, but it's something that I thought we should talk about. All right, now our favorite stick juggling chef, Enon Harsh, is still driving me crazy. I still don't know what to make of him, and he's still acting like this whole thing is like some kind of joke. You know, he made the comment about driving a white Hyundai Elantra and keeping his K-bar up his butthole so nobody can see it. Well, now on TikTok, he posted this picture of a Hyundai Elantra saying, "Oh my God, it's the white Elantra. The killer is following me." And then I found this on one of the forums. I don't remember, but I don't know if this is him, but they said it's him, and it kind of looks like him. But if it is, wow. This picture of him and this huge freaking knife. Like, why would you put that out there? And if it was out there before and then something like this happened and you know you're tied to it because you spoke out to everybody, I think I would take it down, but not the stick juggling chef. Nope, not him. Okay, moving on. Okay, let's see. the 911 call. So we know that Moscow PD has decided not to do traditional pressers on this case, and that's fair. That's their prerogative. I still wish they would, because questions that we want answered could be answered rather than them being asked only the questions they want to be asked. But be that as it may, it is what it is, and we get their little videos on YouTube and their daily press releases. And the chief made a video. I don't remember. I believe it was with a news channel, but the question, the interviewer was awful, and the questions didn't amount to much, really. But everyone's noticing, for one thing, he's smiling a lot. He seems very relaxed, very comfortable, as opposed to law enforcement that we've seen in the past in other cases that look kind of beaten down and frustrated, and they're tired because they've been putting in so much time and effort and things like that. And I agree, he does look very calm and happy. Maybe he's confident because of what they know and we don't know. I hope it means that he's confident that they've got something. But what I want to focus on is the 911 call. And in this video, she asks about, it hasn't been released. When will it be released? That kind of thing. And it's made national news that Chief Fry kind of floated the idea that it might be released soon. And yeah, he kind of did. And before I play the video, I want to tell you, I know it's not as loud as some of the other videos, but that was just the quality of it. But in the video, he talks about not releasing it because of the investigation, and that it would be released in court or maybe before court, just depending on when the prosecution felt that it was okay, that it wasn't going to compromise the case, and police feel like it's not going to compromise their investigation. And it just makes me wonder, 45 days later, 6.5 weeks later, we haven't heard it. And in most cases, at this point, we have heard any significant 911 calls associated with the case. And we haven't heard anything. So what is in that call that they're protecting? We know it was on one of the roommates' phones, but we don't know who made the call. They said several people talked to the dispatcher, but we don't know who they are. I don't think either one of the roommates spoke, but I could be wrong. And we don't know the real story of why it was called in as an unconscious person. We've heard the theory that one of the roommates passed out upon seeing what had happened, and whoever they had called over found them passed out, picked up her phone, and said, "We have an unconscious person," or whatever. We don't know. We don't know why it was called in that way, or if it was called in that way. Maybe that's just the way it was relayed. We don't know. But what are they protecting? What the heck could be in that call that is so important that there's a chance it might not come out until trial? That it could compromise the investigation? I'm very curious about that call. I have been all along. But here's that clip. Like I said, I know it's probably a little hard to hear, so put on your earbuds or turn the volume up a little bit for this really short clip.
Probably another one of those that might be hard to answer, but when will the department release the 911 call, or can we expect that to be publicly released?
I think it'll be released when the prosecution believes that we can release that. That may be at trial. That may be before then. But some of that, we make a decision as a team of investigators and administration, as well as our prosecutor's office. So we want to make sure that we hold that until it's no longer, not that it's not needed, but it's okay for the case.
Mm-hmm. Is there something specific on the call that you believe could lead to an arrest?
like I said, I can't discuss that. It's part of the investigation, but as soon as we can release that information, we will.
Okay, so just leave me your comments about what you think is so freaking significant in that call and why we can't hear it. We touched on this a little bit earlier. Kaylee and Jack had only been split up for 3 weeks, and is that significant? And I was thinking back to the interview with Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's dad, where he made that statement about he had seen changes in the victim's behaviors before the attacks. And I was just kind of thinking, like, all along I've been like, what the hell did he mean? And could that be what he meant? Like, you know, her breaking up with Jack after they'd been together for 5 years, was that like a change, like her behavior towards Jack, or her and Maddie's behavior towards Jack, or whatever? Is that the behavior he's talking about, or their behavior towards someone else? And who? You know, I've always gone back to that question, that there was a change in behavior in the victims before this happened, and it just kind of popped into my head. Well, 3 weeks after dating 5 years, she suddenly needs a break. Could that be what he meant? I don't know, because, you know, the family has been behind Jack D. I'm still not convinced the dad is 100% on board with that, but could that be what he meant? Their behavior towards Shiloh, towards someone in particular, you know, that maybe they had cut somebody out of their friend group. You know, was it the girls dropping out of their sororities because Kaylee was not in hers, and Maddie and Xana dropped out of theirs? Could it be that, maybe? You know, was there something there? I don't know, but I find it interesting just to ponder what he could have meant by that. Like, what did he notice in their behavior that was different, and was it their behavior towards someone in particular? The TikToker hasn't posted in like 3 or 4 days. She had something up today. It was just really short. She didn't really talk. It was still basically like, she thinks it funny that people are commenting that they think she's going to go to jail. She's still very confident that she's going to win this lawsuit. But maybe somebody finally got through to her that maybe she should quit posting about the history professor. I found out yesterday in a news alert that there were 90 white Hyundai Elantras that have been registered for campus parking between the start of the fall 2018 semester and December of 2022. This is the list. But the primary contact field was left blank on many of the documents, which I found weird. Like, what is the point of registering your car if you're not going to put all your information? Anytime that I had to get a sticker for a car when I was parking on campus, I had to fill out everything or I wasn't getting the sticker, you know. But the primary contact field was left blank on many of them. All but one included plate numbers, which, again, I would think you would need the plate so you could match up, like, yes, this license tag is supposed to have this sticker, but what do I know? It's been a while since I was in college. Maybe things changed. This does include some Elantras from outside the model age range law enforcement is looking for. I think it went from 2010 to 2017, I believe. Many of the fields for model year were also left blank. Again, you know, it's not helpful. Like, if you register and it's supposed to be a 2020 and it's actually a 2013, that doesn't match. So how can you verify? But whatever. Last year, the total enrollment for University of Idaho was 11,500. But not everyone lives or parks on campus. So not everyone of that 11,500 that own a Hyundai Elantra, not all of them probably got parking stickers. If you don't live on campus, then if you live within walking distance, you don't need to get a parking sticker. When I moved off campus into an apartment and I was close enough to walk to campus, I didn't get a parking sticker anymore. Some people do if it's not within walking distance, or maybe you don't want to walk in the wintertime or something like that. You may still get a sticker so you can park in a campus lot closer to your building. And then there's going to be people that are associated with the university, not just students, but teachers, cooks, janitors, any number of people that could be associated with the university in any number of ways. And they may drive a Hyundai Elantra, but they didn't have to get a sticker for whatever reason. Or, maybe their husband has the Elantra and they drive a different car to work. Or, there's a lot of people that could have that car, like, at their disposal, but don't necessarily have it registered to the school. So while this list, I guess, would be helpful, it's 90 doesn't, in my mind, encompass all of the Elantras that are probably there and associated with the school. That is really about it, other than, I've been thinking about we talked about what happened at the Sig Chi party. We know that Kaylee decided to come back and go to the Pi Phi party, and she had originally not planned to go back. She wanted to show Maddie her car and kind of went back and forth, according to her mom, about if she wanted to go or not, and kind of spur of the moment decided, yeah, I'm going to go so I can go to this Pi Phi party and I want to show Maddie the car. Now, I think had it only been about the car, she probably would have waited till break, maybe, to show Maddie the car, because it was only a few days away and she would have been coming home. So if she went back for this party, I've heard Dylan took Kaylee to the party as her +1. It was an invite-only party. And as I said before, she was Alpha Pi or Alpha Phi or Alpha Phi or whatever you want to call it. She wasn't in that sorority, is my point. And Xana and Maddie were in it, but they had dropped out. So I kind of wonder what was the dynamic at that party. Like, I would think the sorority girls would kind of be like, what are you doing here? You didn't want to be a part of us anymore, and now you're showing up at our party? Like, who the hell do you think you are? Why are you here? But maybe not. Maybe they were glad to see him. I guess a lot of it depends on why they dropped out. And I'd like to know what made them drop out. Maddie and Kaylee have been tight like sisters since middle school, and only just moved in together this last year because they were in different sororities, living in different houses, and after they both weren't in sororities anymore, now they're living together. And, was Kaylee welcome at this party? I don't know what the dynamic between the sororities might have been, but, did anything happen at that party? If we're going to look at the Sig Chi party, and did something significant happen at the Sig Chi party, did something happen at that party on the 11th? Did something happen at that party on the 11th that carried over to the Sig Chi party on the 13th? It's just one more angle to look at. And if she came back to go to the party, it's interesting to me in the fact that, again, I'm going to go back to Kylie Rodney. We talked a lot about Kylie wasn't supposed to go to that party. She had planned to go to that car show with her parents and last minute decided, hey, I don't want to go to that. I'm going to go to this party instead. And it's kind of the same thing here, right? If that's why she decided to go back, you know, was it because last minute Dylan was like, hey, you can come with me because everybody else was going, you know, Xana and Maddie were former sorority members. I just totally lost the name of the sorority. And Dylan and Bethany were current. So was it kind of like everybody's going to this party, so I'm not going to go down and just, you know, sit around and do nothing because she's broke up with Jack D, right? Was it like, hey, you can come with me and then we can all go kind of thing? Is that what got her to go? And if so, you kind of have to ask yourself, was there a reason that they wanted her there to go? And again, this is all just speculation and out there. I don't think she was necessarily lured to the party and then lured to her death because of the party. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, how did that all play into her coming back? You know, how did this all come together? So, like I said, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys are ready for 2023. As you can see over here on the side, I'm ready for a new year. I'm definitely ready for a new year. And like I said, everybody just, we need to keep our theories and ideas somewhat grounded in reality and try not to point fingers and say like, this definitely is the person, because we don't know and we don't want to ruin these people's lives. So just hold it together and be good people. And, you know, let's try to use initials. Let's say, you know, they're a person of interest, not that they are the killer or things like that, because it's kind of getting out of hand out there. So if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps in the algorithm. Share it on your social media and use hashtags like, you know, Idaho for, Idaho students, things like that. So people that are looking for information can find it easily by searching the hashtag. And if you aren't already subscribed, I would invite you to please do that and join our community here and click the bell to all, so you hopefully get notifications when YouTube decides to cooperate. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.